Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. In my videos, I use both Vedic and traditional Western techniques with tropical astrology, not sidereal astrology. I also use the traditional system of whole sign astrology for my analysis. You can use this video to the best of your advantage by listening to the introduction to understand what the week holds for you, and then going to the timestamps for your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a more personalized forecast for the week ahead. Astrology is not designed to scare you. It's designed to give you information so that you know what the good and the challenging energies in the week ahead will be, and you can therefore consciously work with them to the best of your advantage. Remember, knowledge is power. Now, there are scammers about, and so if you should receive a message from me on any platform requesting your money for a reading, know that it is a scam. Report them immediately. And now settle in and let's see what the astral skies have in store for the week ahead. Well, hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to this week's Astro Weather Report. I want to empower you through the tool of astrology this week to live your best life ever. This week we're looking at the energies playing out from the 28th of January to the 4th of February. Now, it is going to be quite a quiet month going ahead into February. There's not a lot happening in the astral skies, but it's a time instead to catch our breath and enjoy the energies of all planets in forward direct motion now, which gets us more active and having more momentum in our lives. Thank goodness we could use a dose of that. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel in order to go into the draw to win a solar return report, which is a year ahead report for the month of January. I will be announcing the winner next week in next week's video. So enter by liking, sharing, subscribing, and don't forget to pop your name in the comments to say, hey, I've done so, pop me in the draw. Okay, so let's look at the astral weather this week. Well, this is the first off the rank is the 29th of January, when the sun will square the nodes. So here are the nodes down here. This is happening at 8 degrees, and the sun is at 8 degrees of Aquarius. The nodes are at 8 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio. And so what we end up with is this triangle shape, which is otherwise known in evolutionary astrology as a skipped step. And this is what I'm going to be talking about for all signs. Sun square the nodes. And this happens twice a year at the moment, when the sun is squaring the nodes in Aquarius, and also when he's in Leo, the same thing occurs. So it happens twice a year that the sun will always square the nodes. And this is quite a profound energy, because the nodes are the symbols of our past, South Node in Scorpio at the moment, and our future, North Node in Taurus. Now, when the sun squares the past and the future representations in the chart, it triggers events that can really shift the gears of our lives most profoundly, actually. It sometimes speeds up our destiny in coming to us, makes our destiny come quicker, come faster, and some people will be wanting that. Some people might be like, oh no, not so fast. It can also cause old things to fall away and disappear out of our lives. So in this instance, when the sun is squaring the nodes, creating a solar skip step, we find ourselves grappling with the following types of themes. A loss of identity. Sun is our identity, and we can feel like we're losing our identity due to the dominance of other strong people in our lives. It could be a partner, it could be a boss, it could be a sibling, it could be a parent, like it could be anybody, but somebody dominating our lives, and we feel like we're losing ourselves because of that person. So that's one thing. Second thing, we might have difficulties generating a vision for our lives, for the future, and who we want to be, because there may be a lack of clarity on that, or we might feel like the obstacles to creating who we want to be are just too insurmountable. We can also experience social revolutions on the big, larger scale impact in the world and in the globe. So keep an eye on the non-mainstream media news, I would say. Avoid mainstream media at all, like ever. Don't go there. Get your news from other sources that are reliable, where good journalism still prevails. One area that, I follow Russell Brand. I think he does a lot of research and really looks at things from both sides of the coin where he can, and presents viable arguments. So most of my information comes from people like Russell, who are doing good investigative journalism, or the people who work for him are. But I would suggest that around this time there might be some signs of social revolution in our world. There could even be revolutions occurring in your life in some way, like I said, changes where the destiny speeds up and old things fall away. So that's a revolutionary experience. So to just break it down into a very succinct point, that can be happening on a collective level and a personal level. You might also notice themes of hatred, rage, or jealousy that you experience within you on this day towards people in power now. Hello. All we've got to do is look at the kind of things that have played out over the last, since 2020, the last 3 years, to realize, there is a lot of hatred and rage on the planet towards these people in positions of power that weren't elected to be in power and governance over us, but are simply there because they're rich. So there's a lot of that kind of energy on the planet at the moment. I feel a lot of rage towards that sort of injustice myself most of the time. So let me just say, this square on the 29th of January, this skip step, is probably going to highlight that even more in my character. So I'm preparing for that. But if you're not usually inclined that way, you might notice it coming up in you for some reason. So how do we overcome these external and internal blockages and themes of difficulty, and things that are sabotaging our just state of happiness and living life in a joyful way? Well, we consciously choose to put ourselves in the driver's seat of our life. We make choices that honor ourselves first. That's how we deal with this energy. The sun represents the self and the self-identity and the self-willpower. And so as our destiny comes to us quicker and the old ways of doing things pass away, what we need to do to make it work for us is make choices that honor what we need first. Yes, we have to think about our kids. Yes, we have to think about our partner and our parents and other important people in our lives. That is true. But make your choices ones on this day, the 29th of January, that honor what you need. The kids are, wanting dinner and they're hungry and whatever. Make them a piece of toast while you go and have that soak in the bath to get your sanity back. Whatever works to put yourself in the driver's seat, to keep your equilibrium balanced and harmonious. That's the choice you need to make. I'm not saying don't feed your kids, but I'm saying make a choice that works so that you can be in the driver's seat. So choose enlightened selfishness. This is a term that Stephen Forrest uses frequently. Enlightened selfishness he uses that to describe the need to honor the self. And I would encourage you to remember to choose enlightened selfishness throughout the 29th of January on that day. Go to and rise, my friends. This can be very empowering if you work with it well. Then on the 30th of January, we have a lovely little trine from Mercury. Oh, hang on, that's Venus. Where's my Mercury? What have I done with Mercury? Okay, that's right. Okay, good. I'm just thinking my board is all over the shop, but it's not that bad. Mercury in Capricorn, trining Uranus in Taurus. This is at 14 degrees. So under this friendly, sociable energy, we might meet some very fascinating, interesting people and create some electrifying new social connections. There's new learning opportunities that can call us in. Traveling might bring a feeling of liberation for many people and freedom to many people's lives. And our minds, because both of these planets are geared towards the mental, our mind is switched to genius level. Like we can get genius level imprints under this energy on this day. Now, with this in mind, I would point out that the Royal Stars Academy, the discount of $500 will be ending at the end of January. So if you want to make the most of this energy and sign up for the Royal Stars Academy under this highly intellectual level, you are going to be able to understand astrology so much richer and deeper and more powerfully if this is in the chart of you signing up to join me at the Royal Stars Academy and learn astrology in 2023 while there is still a $500 discount till the end of January. So jump in quick. So if you've got a problem to solve, this energy has your back. You're going to have clear insights and a more detached mental approach that can really clear the road in front of you now. Okay, then also on the 30th of January, same day as the trine from Mercury to Uranus, we're going to have a trine from the Sun to Mars in air signs. So Mercury, Uranus was earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus. Aquarius, Sun to Gemini, Mars at 9 degrees is also a trine. And va-va-voom. This is an awesome energy to rev up your life and get the vitality that you need. You can get confidence, you can get courage. Leadership ability comes to the fore in abundance on this day under this energy. So you're going to feel like you can take on the world and win. What a powerful day that's going to be, the 30th of January with this trine and this trine. So if you need to start something, joining the Royal Stars Academy would be starting something. This is the perfect day to do it this week. If you are competing in anything, either physically or in any other way in the world, you are going to come away. You may not win, because we can only have one winner, can't we? But you may not win, but you are going to come away very satisfied with the effort that you've put in and your contribution to that competition. You're going to be happy with how you did. Sex drive's also increased under the trine from Mars to the Sun. Stamina is also increased. Healthy physical exertion levels, they rise under this influence. So what a day to enjoy. If you need to start anything, if you need to bring in some enthusiasm to any new project or any new undertaking, then the 30th of January, my friends, is your day. And finally, in the week ahead, we're going to have a square from the Sun a little later in the week on the 4th of February from the Sun to Uranus. So currently, we're going to talk in a minute about the Sun squaring the nodes of the Moon, and then a little later in the week, the Sun will have shuffled along a bit and be making a square to Uranus at 15 degrees. So this is a time, 4th of February, Sun square Uranus, for marching to the beat of your own drum, my friends. Let no one tell you what to do, what to think, how to behave, and most of all, how to express yourself. This is a very independent, autonomous type of energy. The trouble is, being autonomous on this day might rub people the wrong way, and somehow life in the material realm seems to require a balance of belonging and individuality. Okay, so there has to be a happy medium somewhere there. We're going to be leaning more towards the individuality side as we go into the 4th of February. The Sun in the chart rules Leo. Okay, so interestingly enough, it's in its opposing sign of fall when this occurs. The Sun rules Leo and Uranus rules where it's now in fall, making a square to the ruler of Aquarius. The Sun rules Leo, Uranus rules Aquarius, and these are two planets that have, or two signs rather, Leo Aquarius axis, has a similarity in one area particularly, not in many other areas, but in one area. They are both energies of autonomy, individuality, and uniqueness. And yet they're very much at odds in the astrological world. One is more about individuality and uniqueness in the service of humanity and community. This one, Leo, is all about individuality and uniqueness for the promotion of self, for the contribution of self to the creative world, you know, who you are affecting the world because you're brilliant and you're a genius and you're creative and all that great stuff, rather than being creative to help humanity. Both have a role to play, both have an important part in our society, but Uranus rules the Aquarian side and Leo rules the Sun rules the Leo side. So when they're squaring one another, that does make it hard. Very much at odds. And this might express in the people that you are encountering today. How? With sudden outbursts, with feelings of resentfulness or feelings of I'm blocked and I'm stagnant and I'm sick of this and I want out. That's how this square aspect between the Sun and Uranus comes out in people's lives. A hard aspect like a square, which is tinged in this case with this restless energy and an uncertain energy, it can only be mitigated with self-awareness, with non-judgment, with flexibility and patience and acceptance that we are all on a different journey. I'm on a different journey of life to my next door neighbor, but that's okay. Both our journeys are relevant and important to us. And what we experience and how we're wired astrologically as individuals is equally as important. Me to my neighbor, me to you, me to my children. It's all a-okay. So the more acceptance you have of the choices that others make, their beliefs, their opinions, the more you can accept those things and not try and force your opinion on others, the easier this energy is going to be for everybody on the planet. That said, do be careful on this day, the 4th of February, because currently there is an energy of trying to divide people in certain parts of the world over certain opinions, certain beliefs, and a desire. There seems to be this great desire on the planet to homogenize everything. Homogenistic architecture, music, food, opinions, beliefs, spiritual practices, and there seems to be very little room for the differing journeys of all humans and all cultures. So be aware that might be exacerbated in some way under the square of Uranus to Leo, the Sun, who rules Leo, on the 4th of February. Okay, let's leave the week ahead alone and start looking at the all signs breakdown for the 29th of January, when the Sun will be squaring the nodes of the moon. And we're going to start with Aquarius, because that's where the Sun is, so that's where the effect is going to be felt. I need my little doodaddy, and it's not here at my desk, strangely enough. Magic of editing, I'll be back in a second. And here we are. Okay, 29th of January, Sun squaring the nodes for Aquarius rising, Sun or Moon people. Well, because this is falling in your first house of your identity, you might feel very strongly that in some way this day brings you a loss of identity. And usually that'll be due to the impact of other people on you, okay? No, actually, I tell a lie. That is not the case. It will be due to this is the house of your choices that are causing a loss of identity. So it needn't be for ill, for bad. It can be for good. So, for example, you might make a decision about how you're dressing. Okay, that's a very simple explanation in the first house. It can be any form of identity ownership, but the way we dress is a certain form of how we identify. And you might decide, you know what? I don't like the identity I've built in my wardrobe, in my appearance. So I'm changing everything. And I'm going to lose that old identity as I embrace a new one. So it is your choice about how and in what area of life your identity in a certain way is lost or left behind, South Node, in order to embrace the new identity that you wish to build for yourself. Now, challenging energies with this combination can be that you might have a difficulty getting a vision for your life and how you are going to survive and thrive in the world. So, not that there's any greater need on this day, the 29th of January, to survive or thrive in any way, shape or form, but you are going to have difficulty seeing a vision for how you're going to survive. There's more difficulty initiating something new now yourself. Yes, regarding your identity and how you identify in the world, but initiating new projects can be a little harder on the 29th of January because you're more susceptible or more receptive, if you like, if you want to use those words, of the destiny that wants to unfold. So it's more like fated events come into your life now, rather than you saying, I will go here, I will do this, and that's going to help me thrive and flourish. The destiny is going to step in and say, we want you doing this to thrive and flourish. We want you to go in this direction to thrive and flourish. And you don't actually, the choice about how you survive and thrive is a little bit more hard to grasp, of your own initiative. So you've got initiative with identity, but difficulty with that vision or initiating that vision of who you want to be. I hope I'm making sense here. Okay, there could be a revolution of self, a revolution of, your physical body in some way. Like you might hit the gym, you might jump on the scales for the first time in 6 months and you're like, whoa, I've lost, a ton of weight. That's a revolutionary experience when, you notice there's been a big drastic change in your physical self. So there can be a physical revolutions that you notice on the 4th of February. Again, we come back to this theme with this skip step of having rage towards people in power. You may, because this is in the house of self, it is possible that you might feel a little bit of anger over your handling of a leadership situation. Anger towards the self, like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? That was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that with that person. You might be feeling that sort of, I've used harsh words like hatred and anger and rage, but you might just be feeling frustration with how you've handled power or how you've handled leadership. But whenever we feel that way, it's an opportunity. The universe is saying, hey, this is an issue. Let's make a change. Let's not do that again. Let's grow. Let's mature. Let's move beyond that behavior that we're so disappointed in ourselves about now. But remember, above all, Aquarius, put yourself in the driver's seat, and any choices that you do make on this day, make sure that they are about honoring you and your needs and being kind to you first and foremost. So, is that new haircut you're thinking of getting to revamp your image going to really be kind to you down the track? Is it going to be something that you can live with for the long term that honors you, or are you just getting your hair cut to please your boyfriend? Think about it. Put yourself and your needs and what you like and your enlightened selfishness, as Stephen Forrest says, in the driver's seat. At least just on the 29th of January, you can go for it with the enlightened selfishness. All right, thank you, Aquarius. Then we're moving on to, who have I got next on my list? I've got Pisces on my list to go next. So Pisces rising, Pisces sun, and Pisces moon people. Well, we are experiencing this skip step energy directing at our 12th house, and Pisces energy is very familiar with 12th house type themes because that's what Pisces is all about. It might be difficult to get a grasp, I feel, though, for many Pisces on what we want to achieve in the future. So this energy can not necessarily leave us confused, but it just might be hard to get a vision for who we want to be and where we want our lives to go. We can feel a little bit out of control. But look, I've got to say, because it's Pisces rising that's having this particular aspect form, we're used to this. Pisces people are so good at letting go and letting God. The more I observe Pisces people, they're not the kind to sort of claw and grasp their way all over other people, stomping all over other people to get to the top of the tree or the top of the mountain and plant their flag and say, look at me, here I am. That's not a Pisces thing anyway. They're more like, well, if the universe wills it, I know I'm going to rise up and be appreciated for what I offer. There's a trust that the divine will help them rise and will help them lift. And that is the perfect attitude to hone or in on or to embrace under this energy on the 29th of January, my friends, because this energy is all about moving into your destiny, and it's going to happen naturally. Some things will be being let go of. Pisces is good at letting go of things that no longer serve, so that they can rise into their destiny. And that's the theme of this energy. But it's not about instigating it, it's about letting go and letting God. So thumbs up, Pisces, for you. This is going to work well. Now, it's possible that this day might bring you some sort of visions, some sort of signs, omens. Pay attention to them. They will be strong and profound. They will usually have something to do with your future as well, Pisces. And you might get a premonition for something that manifests, in a few months' time when perhaps the sun conjuncts the North Node. So write what happens on this day down in your astrological journal so that you can look back and say, wow, look at this. This is what happened, and then this is what it led to. So there could be some sort of revolution in your life about to play out now. about to form now. You know, it could be a past life karmic situation that is now being repaid, rewarded, a past life encounter that reaches its sort of fortuitous conclusion now. Its destiny comes to bear now. So when I say karma, that can be from past lives, obviously, but it can also be from earlier in this life. So, you know, if you've kept your karma clean, as we say, then you've got nothing to worry about. Everything's cool. But it is a liberation house, so the sun is being squared to the node's inner house of liberation, which speaks to me of being liberated from some situation that may have been feeling like entrapment. I think this might have, this is on a social axis here. I think that it might have something to do with social connections that have been blocking and restricting you, and now is the chance to be liberated from those things, to let go or dissolve any friendships that haven't served you well, any relationships that have not been of blessing to you, so that you can step into relationships that are of blessing to you. I'm talking friendships, I'm talking connections and networking and that sort of thing. There's space being made, I think, on this day for new connections and new benefits to enter into your life. And I would, on that topic, Pisces, I would encourage you to put yourself in the driver's seat. If something isn't serving you relationally, then I would encourage you to make a choice that honors yourself. Don't give yourself away, Pisces, to other people who are just using you for their own ends with no valuing or appreciation of who you are and the unique and special and wonderful person that you are. Finally, I just want to mention that there could be some secrets that come to light that are illuminated under this influence, and those secrets or hidden agendas, that sort of thing, that come out now might make you very mad and full of rage and full of anger. So if that happens, my beautiful Pisces people, just realize this is an astral energy and it will pass. In the great scheme of things, you know, of our many incarnations, is it really going to matter? Deal with it as best you can, take a deep breath and move on, my beautiful Pisces friends. Okay, for our Aries rising, Aries sun, Aries moon people, well, the energy of our skipped step sun, actually I don't need that at the moment, all good. Skipped step sun here making a square to the nodes of the moon is affecting your 11th house on the 29th of January. This is the house, oh, I do need my little stopper. The house of how you can be profitable and gainful is the 11th house theme. So, you know, and it's also in big networks that we see through the 11th house. So there might be some sort of loss of identity regarding a network that you're involved in, or a group that you're part of, or some, you know, political activism that you're part of, or something like that. There could be that you lose your identity through, you know, I guess subverting it for the group, or losing your identity for the sake of the group that you're involved in, or the activism that you're involved in. So that may or may not be a good thing depending on your personal particular circumstances. This is not an energy of good or bad. This is an energy of letting go so the new can come in for one thing or another. So you might be letting go of your self-identity so that some good can come to humanity, 11th house. Okay, it must be my way or the highway. You let go of that idea to say, well, this is for the greater good. Always be very careful. In fact, I would really encourage a lot of consciousness about sacrificing the self for the greater good at all times, because we have been told over the last 3 years that we needed to do that, haven't we? And was it something we needed to do? Was it for the greater good? Was it for the benefit of humanity on the planet? I'll let you answer that question yourself. I'm sure you all know what I think. So yes, think twice about that, but that's what this energy combination does speak to. Okay, this is also where we need to put ourselves in the driver's seat. So while we are perhaps losing our identity due to the impact of other people, or maybe for the sake of a humanitarian cause or something, there is still a need, Aries friends, to make choices that honor ourselves. To make, especially with friendships and groups that you want to be involved in, think about it. Okay, if I get involved in this network, is it going to honor me or are they going to exploit me? If I continue with this friendship that I have, is that going to be uplifting to my life, or is it only going to drag me down through their gaslighting or their certain, difficult behaviors? And make a choice. This is the day for making a choice that will honor yourself going forward. So that's a big energy with this one. This is also the house of wealth that we make from our contribution to the world. As I said, it's a house of profitability and gainfulness. So there might be some difficulties moving forward with gainfulness and profitability and the wealth that we are trying to generate in our lives from our contribution that we're making to the world. There's difficulties here, and I would say the difficulties come because we need to let go of something first before the destiny can unfold in that regard. So this might look like, let me give an example in some way. Maybe you're working in a hierarchical company or organization or government group or something like that, and in order to move up the ladder into your destiny, into a new purpose for living, you might new opportunity for gainfulness, like you might need to put in an application for a pay rise, or to go to the next level, to become go to management level or something like that. But in order to do that, you need to put it, to leave behind perhaps an old belief around worthiness for such a role, around the skill sets you have for such a role. You might need to leave behind any fears of being able to be a leader, so that you can step into a role that's going to give you more profitability and gainfulness. So something must be left behind. Something, maybe it could be a belief, it could be, you need to leave the old role that you've had before with all your friends in that, level of the organization. Leave that behind so that you can move into a greater opportunity for yourself. Something must be let go of willingly in order for you to move now into the opportunity for more gainfulness that might be presenting for you. Same goes for your dreams and ambitions and desires. Something may need to be left behind so that you can move into something meaningful in the future regarding your dreams and desires. Maybe you're being called to move to another country, and you might need to move to another country to fulfill your dreams and goals and ambitions, but that means leaving maybe family or leaving friends behind, or a certain culture that you'd grown used to behind. That's what we're seeing there, is the need to let go of something in order to make a dream a reality. Thank you, Aries. And now for our Taurus rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon friends. Okay, so for you guys, the energy of this skip step is falling on angular houses. For the last year or so, you've actually had these nodes of the moon in your relationship axis, which has been bringing big changes into the lives of our Taurus Scorpio friends. And now with this sun skip step that occurs twice in a year, but will only occur in this realm of the chart sort of once, maybe twice every 9 years, so it's quite a rare occurrence. It is a day when you're going to be very focused on embracing a higher level of identity, letting go of something, or maybe a person, maybe a relationship, maybe a business partnership that in some way may have been holding you back, that is now leaving your life so that you can begin to shine. This is the sun in the highest position in the horoscope, the place where the sun does extremely well, where it has great directional strength in Vedic astrology. And so this is a position that speaks to you being able to shine, to come into your own, to be brilliant in your independence, and perhaps take on a leadership role in the world, or some higher profile position or something like that, to be more successful in the world in some way. This is a chance that is going to present itself. A loss of some relationship in your life that's going to allow you to step into an opportunity to shine more, so that you can then move into your own destiny, your own self-empowerment, your own self-worthiness, all this amplification of who you are. So in many ways for Taurus, this is a really good combination of this energy. Just be careful of sort of dominance from, say, bosses on this day, or being told what to do by authority figures that really isn't in your best interest. Put yourself in the driver's seat, make choices, make decisions that put yourself first, that embrace a bit of enlightened selfishness, as we say. And I would also just speak to the theme with this combination of feeling sort of rage under this influence. Rage would be directed at authority figures, at rule makers, at government officials. So there could be a clash under this influence. Be forewarned, forearmed about that. But if you put yourself in the driver's seat and make decisions and choices that honor you, you will feel better about this day, about this energy. This is the house of what we need to do to gain respect and success in the world. And on the 29th of January, you need to do something that builds your confidence, that helps you to shine, that puts yourself out there in the world and says, here I am, and I am worthy of love. I am worthy of your respect. So, I mean, that could be anything, couldn't it? You know, it could look for some people like getting a new haircut. For other people, what they might need to do to gain respect, it could be like expressing their knowledge on a certain topic and writing a blog post, or putting up an article on their social media pages, or the internet. Aquarius rules the internet, that speaks to their intelligence. So this is what we need to do to gain respect and success. Shine, put yourself out there, put your glory on display in some way out there in the world, so that you can receive the respect and the success that you deserve. It might be a step towards more success and respect, but it will be an opportunity for progression in that regard. So that's what I'm really feeling is on the cards for the 29th of January for our Taurus friends. Gemini rising, sun or moon people. The energy of the beautiful, or what can be beautiful if we work with it well, I should say. Skip step of the sun squaring Scorpio, South Node, and Taurus North Node. This is impacting your 9th house, Gemini. So you might be experiencing, because the skip step speaks to the need to put ourselves in the driver's seat in some realm of life, to practice enlightened selfishness, to make choices that honor ourselves. So that could look like in the 9th house, it could like making a decision that, you know what, I've honored the education of my children for so many years. Now I'm going to honor my own education. Now I'm going to choose for me to get my degree, to get my learning underway. Maybe I'm going to go join Kesenya's Royal Stars Academy while it's still $500 off till the end of January. And then you do so and put yourself in the driver's seat saying, I'm going to honor my education, my higher education, 9th house. Or maybe, my beautiful Gemini friends, it could be honoring yourself with regards to some sort of travel or exploration or soul expansion. Maybe you've always wanted to go on a women's wild retreat, and you've never done that because I have these duties, I have these responsibilities. This energy says, honor self, honor the self, put yourself in the driver's seat and make choices that are for you. And so you do something that's soul expansive. Go to that wild women's retreat, and you find that it blesses you, it helps you to shine, it helps you to grow into your confidence through expanding your soul. So that's one energy, or one way this can display. There is also a tendency that we need to be very aware of to losing our identity due to the dominance of others in our lives. Now, in the Vedic system, this is one of the houses of the Father, and it's also a house of people who inspire us, our gurus, basically. So, because of the entry of some guru or an inspirational father-like figure in your life, you might suddenly lose some aspect of your own identity. Your own, not self-love at all, but your own identification as this is who I am. And that might be because a belief that you've always had is challenged through a guru, through a father figure type person inspiring you in a different direction. It's not always bad to lose a piece of how we have identified ourselves, a bit of our ego, so that we can move into something new. And it'll have to do with a belief system. It may have to do with your way of seeing the world and the worldview that you have. So this could happen on the 29th of January. There might be, this is the house of a vision for our life, and one of the key difficult factors of a skip step sun is being able to generate a vision, knowing who we want to be. It's just that we're lost a bit in what needs to be let go of in order to embrace something new. And generally speaking, especially as this axis of the nodes is falling in your 6th house, 12th house, generally speaking, you might be finding that there is a destiny coming through that's very past life related, very karmic, and very much gives a need to let go and let God. So there might be a difficulty in this house of the vision for the future. There might be a difficulty getting hold of a vision for the future simply because a destiny is playing out that needs to play out from past karma. So the best thing that you can do under this is to make choices that honor yourself on this day, and where you cannot make a choice about something, where you need to just let things happen, realize that it's a time for letting go and letting God and allowing the karmic repercussions to just play out so that this karma can end, be it good, bad, or otherwise. The karma needs to fruit. And it's time for that to happen, I feel, under this skipped step energy. So it could spell some endings. It could spell some finalization of things. It could be some sort of personal revolution that you go through in your life, my Gemini friends. Also be aware of being angry under this influence. It can sort of prod us a bit into firing up. The sun is the fire energy. Firing up about other people's belief systems that don't align with our own, about the need to fight for truth, freedom, and liberation. And there is a place for that. So, if you're feeling prompted, it may be that the gods are prompting you. This is the house of communication with the gods. If you're feeling anger about sort of some belief systems that are out there in society at the moment being pushed upon us that we, don't align with you, it might be time to speak up. It might be time to shine your light regarding those. And if a little bit of hatred or rage pops up around that, then it's a sign. This is important. This is something I need to honor. I remember years ago when I was involved in the Christian culture, I remember hearing a sermon along the lines of pay attention to what makes you angry, because it's a sign from God, they would say. And yes, that's the case. It depends what you see God as, but it's a sign, I would say, from higher self that this is an important trigger that my soul needs to address. If I'm angry about something, if my anger is bubbling up, then there's something either that has wounded me regarding this topic in the past, or it's something I feel passionate about, and therefore something the universe wants me to act upon. So, our feelings are so important as guides for us, as sources of illumination. And if you're feeling angry on this day, which could be the case, pay attention to why and where it's coming from, and, perhaps make some choices around that, work with that energy, honor it in yourself, because it could be definitely in this house a message from the gods to do something about it. Thank you, my Gemini friends. All right, Cancer rising, sun or moon people. Well, we're seeing the energy. Oh, too much muscles on that spin. We're seeing the energy of the skip step sun falling in the 8th house for my Cancer friends, and the nodes of the moon are falling in the 11th house, 5th house axis. So I'm seeing that there's a letting go of something occurring for our Cancer friends. Letting go of something 5th house oriented. Could be letting go of a certain dynamic you've had with your children. Letting go of an old love. Letting go of an old hobby that you might have had, or an idea of what joy is for you, so that you can move into something that is more destined for you. New connections, new networks, new opportunities for profit and gainfulness. This is where the destiny point is falling. And of course, it's all squaring the sun in the 8th house, which is a placement for mysticism and magic. So this tells me that this move from leaving something behind and moving into more profitability and gainfulness and connection might be coming with a magical occurrence, something that happens suddenly, quickly, fast, something that feels like a miracle, something that feels like there's the divine pulling the strings up above that are causing things to happen. The synchronicities are, abundant. There could be, for some people, a need to make choices for the self, for enlightened selfishness, regarding other people's money. I'm trying to think of a scenario as I speak that might describe that. Well, this is, the 8th house is the money that we get when we go through a divorce or something like that, or the outcome of a divorce. And so there might be a need to say, well, I'll give a scenario. Okay. So, let's say somebody is required to pay alimony and somebody's demanding more alimony payments than is fair and just. And, I've been through a divorce myself. And when I did, I was like, I just don't care about anything material. I just want out. I'm just going because nothing material matters. I am so burnt out and exhausted by this relationship, right? And then a lot of people go through that. And then down the track, they look back and they say, oh my goodness, I sold myself short. So this is an example of 8th house energy where you may need to put yourself in the driver's seat and honor the self, practice a bit of enlightened selfishness and say, well, look, hey, this alimony payment is actually not just, not fair, and let's try and figure out something that is more balanced and more harmonious and fairer to both of us. Or in the case I was giving you about myself, I perhaps should have said, well, I'm taking the 3 children with me, so they're going to need a bed to sleep in. Maybe I'm going to take my kids 3 beds. That's enlightened selfishness in this house of other people's resources, or the resources that we have to divvy up after we've been through a divorce. So honor the self. Back to the succinct point here. Honor the self. If you are in a situation that's dealing with other people's resources, with an inheritance, with a will, honor the self. If you're dealing with, your need to borrow a council utility or a council venue or community property in some way, some property that doesn't belong to you but you need to use, honor the self with any situation involving that kind of materiality. What else can I say about the 8th house sun skip step? Be careful of a lot of rage coming to the surface very fast. There could be a trauma that occurs, like an incident, or somebody says something hurtful and it hits you deeply, it cuts you deep. Watch out for the rage that could rise up in a situation like that. It's fine to be angry. Nothing wrong with being angry. Just don't let it lead to the harm of others. We do pay a pretty tough price when that occurs. Also, you might be wanting to put yourself first when it comes to a sexual relationship. Now, I'm not saying be exploitative or abusive, but speak up. Say what you want. Say what you need. This is the day for honoring the self, and you will benefit from it. You will actually, because the sun is where we shine, you will actually be able to shine from it. So don't be afraid to share your intimacy needs with your partner under this influence. Doing such things could end up taking you into a greater, more profound destiny than you might even imagine such an activity might do. Oftentimes, and I've noticed this so much in my own life lately, my beautiful Cancer friends, we don't see how impactful our small little everyday decisions end up being in the greater scheme of things. But my God, they are. Everything is astrological and everything is synchronistic. I've been thinking about certain decisions I made 12 years ago in my life that have led to certain things about where I am at now that are miraculous, life-changing circumstances that would never have happened if I hadn't made certain decisions 12 years ago. You just very profound. And I don't mean to scare you about making decisions. I don't mean to scare you at all, Cancer. Make choices. But on this day, the skip step day, make choices that say this is going to be what's best for me. Yes, I'm being kind and honoring someone else too, but I'm getting justice, fairness, equality, Aquarius energy. under this choice too. I am honoring myself. I am putting myself in the driver's seat of my life and honoring what I need. It's one of the key messages, I think, of this whole configuration for Cancer people, very strongly. Thank you, my lovely Cancer rising, sun or moon friends. Now, Leo rising, sun or moon people. Well, the energy of this rather fascinating skip step sun is falling in the 7th house. So this is an interesting point. The sun is squaring the south node of the moon, where we're letting go of something, and the north node of the moon, what we're heading into. So for you right now, there's a letting go of perhaps a focus on domestic life, a focus on family, a focus on relationship, intimate relationship, or tribal style relationships. Letting go of something in that regard to move into greater career success, greater world recognition that destiny is pulling you towards, Leo. But in order to get there, this skip step must be dealt with. And that means making choices regarding the relationships you have in your life, making choices regarding those relationships that honor the self. I'm just trying to think of a scenario. It could be that you have a relationship with your parents and they're demanding that you stay around where, let's say you live in a certain part of the world and you want to move to another place that's going to give you more career opportunities, but your parents are saying, this is parents down here, parents are saying, well, no, you need to stay and look after us. Well, what is the choice regarding a relationship that you need to make on the 29th of January? The choice to say to your parents kindly and with love, I have to honor me, I have to honor myself, and I have to let go of you and where I come from and my culture and my background so that I can move into a more advantageous life, a leadership position, more recognition publicly. So that's what the big gun with this skip step, Leo, is saying I have to let go of some past piece of who I am, my family heritage or the culture I came from or the home that I've always lived in. I have to let go of that so that I can shine in a relationship maybe, or something in that relationship dynamic that needs to be let go of, to be able to progress into the vision we have for the future success and world recognition. So I hope that makes sense. There is a loss that comes with a skip step and the need to let go of something. And there's also, with the sun skip step, a need to honor the self. The sun rules you, Leo, your rising sun or moon sign. And so the sun represents the need to honor the self and honor your needs and make choices that honor you, but also with recognition, in this case, of relationship dynamics and honoring them as best as you can. That said, on this day, there may be a need to be very wary of any sort of anger towards a partnership that you might feel like is holding you back. Could be parental relationship, it could be a business partnership, could be a marriage that you feel is perhaps holding you back from going into your power and your destiny. Maybe a partner is just putting too many demands on you, or you're feeling pulled in too many different directions, and maybe you need to say something. So there might be, this is such an interesting placement. When we've got angular skip steps, they become particularly powerful. So for all the fixed signs, this is a very powerful day, the 29th of January, because of that. For some Leo people, there might be some sort of revolution in your family that occurs, or in a relationship that happens because of this skip step. Maybe you've always had a relationship style that's, very imbalanced or unequal or something, and there's a revolution occurs on the 29th of January where suddenly you're like, no, we have to be more equal. We've got to divide this domestic work equally between us. I'm sick of doing everything. I'm sick of doing all the cooking and the cleaning. You got to, pull up your socks kind of thing. That could bring a revolution to your relationship. It could be a revolution that comes because of this skip step to your family. Maybe they were always tutting you and telling you you're silly and throwing cold water on your ideas, and along comes this energy. Lo and behold, Your family might have an about face and say, well, wow, you've really blown our socks off. We can't believe the success you've had, and we're so happy for you, you know. So there could be a revolution in a family dynamic that you experience as well. There's some of the main things I'm seeing. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head if there's anything else I need to mention. It's very much an energy, my beautiful friends, of destiny regarding partnership that can happen. So Sun here can represent a destiny of partnership as well, but in order to do so, again, something needs to be let go of, and a change, maybe some domestic situation, domestic life, or domestic living arrangements might need to change in order to have a partnership that leads to greater success out there in the world. That can be another expression of this combination. It's quite an interesting web, this skip step. Thank you, my Leo friends. Now, Virgo rising, Virgo sun, Virgo moon people. The energy, today's of this particular skip step, Sun squaring the nodes, is falling down here for you in the 6th house. Well, this is a house of hard work. And because of hard work, on the 29th of January, you might feel like you're losing a piece of yourself, a piece of your identity, you know. Maybe you're head of a company, but you've got to, on the 29th of January, for some reason you have to roll up your sleeves and get down and dirty and do the hard yards with your workers. And what happens when you do that? Well, there's a loss of the identity that you might have built as being high and mighty and so above them, and suddenly they can relate to you. Your workers, your employees, they can relate to you. They think, wow, he's a really great guy, or she's a really top girl, woman. And it changes the identity that you may have with your employees or with your co-workers or something, because you're willing to do the hard yards in the house of hard work. So there's a change of identity available to you through 6th house mechanisms. I've given you an example of one. Unfortunately, 6th house can be heavy duty things. Maybe there's a change of identity due to a bullying situation or a health situation. Maybe there's a change of identity due to you're an employee. Maybe as an employee something changes for you as well. So there's a few different ways. This is also a house that can be associated with criminal activity, maybe through an act of crime. Something about your identity changes. Often our things are extensions of our identity. I know when I have had my car broken into, crime, 6th house can be crime. When I've had my car broken into, I feel like my identity has been violated in some way. So that's a more negative connotation of this. But I've given you a couple of examples of positive and negative. But basically, there can be a loss, and loss need not always be bad, a change or a loss of identity due to the activities that occur on the 29th of January. Let's talk a little bit more about this. This is where we need to put ourselves in the driver's seat, basically. You need to make decisions that impact you for the best, health-wise, diet-wise, exercise-wise, in this house. This is the house of health. Not the house of the body per se, that's the 1st house, but the house of your healthiness and your level of ability to handle your everyday routines. Your mental ability to handle everyday routines, your physical ability to handle everyday routines. So you need to make choices that affect your daily routine, that affect your health, that are honoring of you. Now, let's use an example. If you have been frazzled because of all your duties and responsibilities, you've got kids pulling you in one direction, partner pulling you in another direction, boss pulling you in another direction, and your own need to express the self and do your thing pulling you in another, and you're just like, the cortisol levels are just sky high because you haven't got enough pieces of you to go around, then this is an energy on the 29th of January that says, make a choice that honors the self, that is kind to the self, that allows you to be just a little bit selfish. Maybe you need to say to the kids, I'm giving you to grandma for the weekend because, hey, guess what? I need some mum or dad time, Maybe you need to say to your partner, yes, go on that golfing trip with your buddies. I'm sending the kids to the grandparents for the weekend. I'm having a weekend at home for me. I'm honoring me. I'm needing me. So make those choices that honor the self. And I've given you an example. Maybe you need to change your daily routine in a fairly drastic way, like I've just suggested, to give you that day of enlightened selfishness. Okay, this is also a house of humility, remaining humble. Now, to honor the self and be kind to the self is not going to go against being humble. Being humble, I mean, I used to get confused by this so much when I was younger, and not as wise as I am now. But I used to see a lot of people like using this false humility. Yes, I'm not very good at that. And really they're fishing for a compliment. This is not about false humility that really wants ego validation. It's about just a general knowing of, yeah, these are my skills, these are my talents, and this is what I'm not good at. I know who I am. I know my faults. I know my downfalls. I know my strengths as well. That's true humility. Just that honest realization of self. What does this have to do with the skip step? Well, it is about, again, making choices that honor the self. Not saying, well, I should be bigger, greater, more wonderful than where I'm at, or I don't deserve any of this, I should be down here. It's about making choices that realistically honor who you are, where you're at, and how you're living your life. So be humble about who you are and make choices that honor that situation in life. Don't get all, don't be getting jealous of people with more success than you or bigger amount of followers. I mean, who cares about that? I mean, it's helpful when you're marketing things or whatever, but really if you are helping one person to have a better life, you're doing great work, through whatever work you're offering to the world. So remain humble about what you do and make choices that affirm what you're doing and who you are and the life that you're living. I hope that makes sense. I did sort of go off on a couple of tangents there, Virgo, so I hope it all ties in together well for you in some way. Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra moon people. The energy, look at those muscles just sending the wheel spinning. The energy of the sun skip step is falling for you down here in the 5th house. What a great place to have a sun skip step, because the sun represents where we can shine. And there's something about the 29th of January that's going to enable you to shine with your children or in love or with a creative hobby. But to do so, there's going to be a need to let go of something. Maybe you need to spend some money to honor your boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe you need to spend some money on a romantic date, or maybe you need to spend, the second house is spending money, so letting go of some money, letting go of some resources, spend some money to honor your children on this day. But you're going to shine in doing so. Sun is to shine. So I do feel that there might be some letting go of something financial for Libran people in order for them to rise up into a shared connection with someone else, an intimacy with somebody else. That's the 8th house. In order to rise up into, could be even an inheritance or a windfall or a lucky break that comes your way. This is a house of Tats Lotto wins. I have to point out, it's not a house of luck, but it's a house of rapid fire. Life turns around 180 degree. So, look, I mean, this is actually, it is. Oh my goodness, I've just realized. Okay. Crazy scenario, but I'm going to give it to you. Spending money on some risky situation, could be a Tats Lotto ticket, or it could be, on a weekend in Vegas or something. It's a house of gambling. Spending money on some sort of risky venture or something like that leads to a lucky windfall or an advantageous inheritance or a big life turnaround. I mean, it could go that way for some Libran people, but what is happening is that there is a letting go of a 2nd house theme to move into an 8th house theme, and the 5th house of luck is on your side to make it work for you. Wow, this is actually, Librans, you're very lucky. This is quite a dynamic combination. Obviously, not everybody is having this combination in their chart right at this point in time, but you are. What else could it mean for you? Well, it might mean that you need to, I said that, haven't I? Honor the self with children, honor the self with lovers, with hobbies, and make choices that honor you in those circumstances. So instead of, I've already used this illustration for another sign, but I'll use it again. Maybe your kids, you've had them for all school holidays and you're burnt out and the house is a mess, and you're like, you know what, I need to honor myself with regard to my children. I'm going to give them to the daycare center for the afternoon so I can just tidy up the house and feel the zen of having a clean home for a few moments. It's children and the need to honor the self, and maybe that's going to cost you a little bit of money. Might cost you, $100 or whatever to put the kids in a childcare for a day, so that you can shine and feel comfortable and confident and keep your equilibrium regarding your relationship with your children. So that's another example of that. But the point I'm trying to make is that there might be a need for you to practice a little bit of enlightened selfishness that serves the greater good in the long run on the 29th of January regarding children, regarding lovers, regarding hobbies. The fifth house is also the house of ego validation. And I think that if you are capable, my beautiful Libran friends, of letting go and letting God, which is what the South Node, North Node axis is all about, let go of what's needed and let God take you into your destiny. If you are able to do that, then the chance for ego validation, fifth house and the sun in the fifth house, is great. You might have been praying for something, let's say, for years. Something might occur on the 29th of January that says, here's the answer to your prayer. Let it validate who you are and what you've been asking for and the person that you want to be in this lifetime. So ego validation can be a result of this as well. Now, finally, I'll just mention that this is the house of the eldest child. So if you do have children, your eldest child might be being given an opportunity to shine, or they could actually show up in your life feeling very angry about something or frustrated, and you might need to step in as a loving parent would and just be a sounding board or be there for them to help them through whatever situation they're feeling. But they could be a bit angry or rageful about some issue. Lovers also, I will point out, might also be feeling a bit of that energy on the 29th of January as well. All right, thank you, Libra. Scorpio rising sun or moon people. Well, the energy of the skip step sun is actually affecting 3 of your angular houses, which makes it very, very important. So Scorpio, your relationship axis has been under fire, let's say, by the nodes of the moon for the last year or so. And so that has been affecting how you move from self to connection and your involvement with other people and the relationships that you've got. This skip step's also going to be involving your family in that situation, your tribe, where you come from, your ancestry in some way. So domestic life can also be part of this combination as well. There could be, I feel there's very much a need, because these are quite heavily relational houses. There is probably going to be a strong need for you to put yourself first. Somebody might be making heavy demands on you, you must do this, or I want this, or da-da-da. And you might need to step into your own confidence. Self-confidence is the sun. And say, I need to honor me, and no, I can't be constantly, there for you. I need to honor myself sometimes, and I need some space. So what Stephen Forrest refers to as enlightened selfishness is the theme for this particular combo. So that's one way that this energy can express. There might also be the need for you to actually step up and be confident around a domestic circumstance. For example, you might need to get assertive with the people you bought a dishwasher off, because, hey, that dishwasher's not working, it's letting me down, it hasn't worked a day since I've got it. I need to get tough. I need to, tap into my confidence and assert myself. That can be another, expression, some sort of domestic appliance or a domestic like a need for a renovation somewhere. You might need to get assertive. You might need to start taking action that honors the self. Okay, so we might also find that you might feel a little bit resentful towards people in your family or a partner who has had some sort of dominance or control over you. Either that, or you might find if you have children that somehow they are acting on the 29th of January a bit resentful, a bit frustrated at you, who is their parent. This is the house of parenting. Just know it's an energy that will pass. Try and be loving and accommodating and accepting of their needs and their emotions and feelings, knowing that this energy is not here to stay. It is a passing experience. But what is happening is that what occurs under this influence on the 29th of January is going to take you into a changed relationship that is part of your destiny. It could be a more authentic relationship with a partner, or you might meet a partner because of this. You might have a better relationship with your clients or your audience. You might have a more blessed relationship with your family, because relationships are seen through the 7th house. But ultimately what I'm trying to explain here is that there will be something that occurs on the 29th of January that changes a relationship for you, that's going to be all about going more into a destined connection and a destined partnership. Okay? So it could make your marriage stronger, or it could make a business, you might meet someone who you decide will become your business partner. That kind of thing can eventuate from this skip step. Thank you, my Scorpio Sun, Moon and Rising friends. Now, Sagittarius Sun, Moon and Rising friends, the energy of the Sun in a skip step formation with the nodes of the Moon is being felt or expressing through your 3rd house. This is going to, I feel, make you quite restless, quite sort of, it might make you agitated with neighbors. Perhaps some astrologers have even seen the 3rd house does have an effect on all sorts of relationships in our life. So there could be an agitated energy regarding some relationship dynamic in your life. But generally there's a restlessness that expresses here. And, the need perhaps to move out of a certain situation, a certain routine, a certain circumstance. So if you need to get out of your house for a while, if you need to go for a drive down to the beach or something, take a change of scene, listen to that prompting, because this energy is saying, hey, we've got to shake things up a bit. We've got to do something that's a bit more spontaneous, unexpected and fun. It is a playful house, the 3rd house, after all. Now there might be some, I think I might have already mentioned this for you, but some anger or rage towards other people, like relatives, neighbors, siblings, people that you meet in a workshop group, friends that feel like family, are seen through the 3rd house. So there might be some frustration with them for some reason. Maybe they've tried to exert their power over you in some way, and you're like, no, I'm a free person, independent being. You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me how to live my life. That could pop up on this day, and it all has to do with what you're letting go of, Sagittarius, and what you want to rise up into, who you want to be, what you're becoming. So a friend might tell you, you shouldn't be doing X, Y, Z, that's going to be no good for you, and you're like, I'll decide what's good for me. In fact, that is what this skip step is all about, putting yourself in the driver's seat, making choices that honor yourself and that are good for you. So there is a real theme of that, needing to be asserted with a friend or with a friendship group or relatives or something. There's a need to assert the self and to stand in your own truth and confidence, okay? The 3rd house also has to do with self-made wealth and running your own business. There could be difficulties with a small business. There could be difficulties with stepping into the vision you have for your future small business or side hustle, or however you want to, generate money in your life in the future. There could be blockages with that, but it's only a daily, a one-day thing. Might be felt either side, like the day before January 29 or the day after January 29. But whatever the case, it could just feel like there's a blockage. Just know it will pass. sit tight, wait for the energy to move on, and then continue running your business, continue building your side hustle or whatever it is that you're working on that's going to be a generation of self-made wealth in your life. There could be some sort of revolution in your life regarding friends. Maybe you thought your friends had all forgotten about you, and then something happens and you're like, oh my goodness, the amount of support and love I'm getting from my friends, wow, blowing my mind, lifting me up out of the doldrums. So some sort of revolution regarding friends, a revolution in your life regarding how you make money, and this is generating it through your own talents and skills and abilities. So a revolution regarding that sort of wealth. There could be, you might learn something new, third house, that triggers some sort of a internal revolution within you. You might see the world from a different perspective, or you might be sharing your story with someone and they're sharing their story with you, and it just transforms everything. And you suddenly, walk a mile in someone else's shoes, as Elvis sang, and get a greater perspective on life that changes you deep inside and how you interact with the world around you. So a revolution in understanding can occur for some Sagittarius people. So lots of change, lots of restlessness, but it's all for the greater good, my Saggy friends. Thank you. Now, Capricorn, thank you for waiting till last, my Capricorn rising, sun and moon people. Okay, what have we got? Oh, we've got a little stopper that's not working. There we go. Now it's right. Thank you. So Capricorn, the energy of the sun skip step is falling in your second house. Now, what this means is that there's a letting go of something to do with the south node energy so that you can rise up into a destiny point to do with the fifth house north node energy here. And the sun and our ego and our ability to shine in the second house is having an effect on that. So what this means is that you may be needing to let go of some networks, some friendship groups, some social connections that you've had, so that you can rise up into greater good fortune and greater self-expression, self-love. So let's say maybe you've been involved in a political group and it's slowly but surely been sort of eroding away your sense of confidence, your sense of being able to shine as an individual. They're trying to homogenize you, let's say, in this 11th house kind of scenario. And you're like, no, I can feel I'm being pulled to shine in my own right, to embrace my destiny. Okay, so that's good. That's what needs to let go of so that you can rise into the destiny point here, which is fantastic. In order to do so, on the 29th of January, you might need to spend some money. Sun, second house. You might need to invest in some self-managed fund or an art collection or something like that. You might need to spend a bit of money in order to rise into your own autonomy, your own individuality. So that can happen. And you know what? In the second house is all about what we value, including our self-worth and our self-value as well. So there is a need to really, as I've been saying all through this reading, put yourself in the driver's seat and make choices that honor your own worthiness, okay? So instead of losing yourself to the group, to the collective, what really needs to happen is you need to honor with self-love your own ability to shine and your own ability to be uniquely you in the world. Make choices that honor you through embracing self-love, through embracing your self-worth. That could look like, because the second house has to do with the face, the teeth, the hair, the voice. It could look like saying, you know what? I really need a new set of veneers on my teeth because my teeth are a disaster, and I'm going to honor myself so that I can shine, so that I have confidence, fifth house confidence. I need to do something about my teeth, second house, so that I have confidence. And everybody in my circle is saying, it shouldn't matter. And you're like, no, it does matter. I want that because it's going to give me a great deal more self-worth, self-value, and confidence to do so, for example. I just used teeth off the top of my head. It is a second house thing. It could be anything. It could be your hair. It could be your skin. It could be your, not your skin, your hair, your teeth, anything to do with the face. your voice as well, that you might need to do something to, make a choice about, so that you can truly shine. Now there could be you might experience a bit of anger towards maybe a group of people who you feel are subverting you or sort of suffocating you in some way. Know that you are able to take back your power. You are able to honor your own needs. That's always the way. All you got to do is make the choice to do so and follow through. There could also be, for some Capricorn people, some sort of revolution with finances. You might need to go over your budget and make some changes and revolutionize how you spend your money, where it goes each week or each day, and make any necessary changes so that you can rise up into more self-autonomy. Okay? So that's generally what I'm saying. This is the house of money and savings and our attitude to money and savings. With a skip step here, you're going to be given the opportunity to let go of something that is not serving you regarding money and savings, so that you can generate more in the future. So pay attention to the opportunities that the universe presents you on the 29th of January. Well, thank you, my beautiful YouTube family. It is so lovely to be able to share the Sun Skip Step with you. I hope you'll join me next week when we'll go through some more fabulous astrology and see how it's affecting us in the week ahead. I'll catch you then.